I, 34F, recently discovered something that has completely shattered my world. My sister Amy, 31F, had been secretly dating my ex-husband Mark, 36M, while we were still married. I found this out last month when I was helping my mom clean out our old family home as she was preparing to downsize to a smaller place after Dad's retirement. While sorting through boxes in the attic, I found an old phone that belonged to Amy. I normally wouldn't snoop through someone else's things, but I noticed it was her old phone from 5 years ago, the same time my marriage with Mark was falling apart. Let me give you some background about my relationship with Mark. We met in college when I was 19 and he was 21. We dated for 5 years before getting married, and everyone thought we were the perfect couple. My family adored him, especially Amy. She was still in high school when we started dating, and she looked up to Mark like a big brother. Throughout our marriage, Amy was always around. She would come over for dinner at least twice a week, and we would often go on trips together. Mark and I were married for 8 years before divorcing 3 years ago. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but I thought we were happy. We had our usual ups and downs, but nothing major until the last year and a half. That's when Mark started becoming increasingly distant. He would come home late most nights, claiming he had to work overtime at his accounting firm. Sometimes he wouldn't come home until after midnight. I trusted him completely and never questioned it because he had always been honest with me before. He started missing our regular family dinners and weekend brunches, saying he was too tired or had work to catch up on. During this time, Amy was going through a rough patch in her own life. She had just broken up with her long-term boyfriend and moved back to our hometown. She was single and would often confide in me about her dating life, or lack thereof. She would tell me about her failed dates and how she couldn't seem to find the right guy. I tried to set her up with some of Mark's friends, but she always found some excuse not to go on a second date. When I found Amy's old phone in the attic, I wasn't even sure it would work. But after charging it for a few hours, it turned on. I know I shouldn't have looked through it, but something in my gut told me I needed to. The messages I found between her and Mark went back to at least a year before our divorce. They had been meeting secretly while I was at work or when Mark claimed to be working late. They would meet at hotels, at her apartment, and even sometimes at our house when I was away visiting our parents. The messages were clearly romantic and included details about their meetups and plans to eventually be together. They talked about how guilty they felt but how they couldn't deny their feelings. There were intimate photos they had sent each other, dates they had gone on, and even discussions about their future together. All of this was happening while I was completely oblivious, thinking my marriage was just going through a rough patch. I confronted Amy immediately with the evidence. I drove straight to her apartment with a phone and showed her everything I had found. At first, she tried to deny it, claiming the messages were fake or that I was misunderstanding things. But when I showed her specific messages with details only she would know, she broke down crying. She admitted that she and Mark had fallen in love but claimed they never meant to hurt me. She said they tried to fight their feelings but couldn't. She also revealed that they had continued dating secretly after my divorce from Mark but broke up 2 years ago because the guilt was too much for her. I was completely devastated. Not only had my husband cheated on me, but my own sister had betrayed me in the worst possible way. What makes it even worse is that Amy had remained a close part of my life after my divorce from Mark. We had weekly sister lunches where she would listen to me cry about the divorce and how confused I was about why my marriage had failed. She would comfort me and tell me that sometimes relationships just don't work out, all while knowing she had been involved with Mark the entire time. Last week, Amy announced her engagement to her boyfriend of 1 year, a guy named Tom who seems really nice. She had the audacity to ask me to be her maid of honor, acting like everything was normal between us. When I refused and told her I wouldn't even attend the wedding, she broke down crying again. She said it was all in the past and she was truly sorry for what she did. She begged me to forgive her, saying she couldn't imagine getting married without her only sister there. She kept saying that she's a different person now and that she's learned from her mistakes. Our parents found out about the situation when Amy called Mom crying about my refusal to be in her wedding. They're torn about how to handle it. Dad thinks what Amy did was unforgivable and supports my decision completely. He says he can't even look at Amy the same way anymore. Mom keeps calling me every day saying that while what Amy did was terrible, she's still my sister and I should try to forgive her for the sake of family harmony. She thinks I'm being too harsh and that holding on to anger only hurts me in the long run. She keeps bringing up how we grew up together and all the good times we've had as sisters. The rest of our extended family has been taking sides since the news spread. My aunts and uncles are divided. Some of them have been calling me selfish for refusing to attend the wedding and potentially creating a rift in the family. They say that family should always come first and that I should be the bigger person. Others completely understand my position and have even said they won't attend the wedding either in solidarity with me. My cousin Rachel, who was supposed to be a bridesmaid, called Amy yesterday to back out of the wedding. I feel terrible about causing drama around Amy's wedding, but I don't think I can bring myself to celebrate her happiness after what she did. The betrayal runs too deep. Every time I think about standing next to her at the altar, watching her say her vows, I feel sick to my stomach. How can I celebrate her finding love when she helped destroy mine? Am I wrong for refusing to attend? Should I try to forgive and move forward for the sake of family peace? Update 1: The past 2 weeks have been absolute chaos in my family. After my original post about refusing to attend Amy's wedding, things have spiraled into an even bigger mess. I thought the situation couldn't get worse, but I was wrong. Last weekend, during our annual family barbecue at my Aunt Linda's house, I overheard Amy telling a completely different version of what happened between her and Mark. She was talking to our cousins in the kitchen, not knowing I was on the back porch right outside the window. She claimed that nothing physical ever happened between them while I was married to Mark, and that they only exchanged a few innocent messages during that time. She said they started dating properly only after my divorce was finalized, making it seem like I was overreacting about the whole situation. I was furious when I heard this. Amy was trying to paint herself as innocent and make me look like the unreasonable one who was trying to ruin her wedding over nothing. What made it worse was that some family members were actually buying her story. My cousin Kate even came up to me later that day and said I should let go of my anger since nothing really happened while I was married. I couldn't stand hearing Amy's lies anymore. That night, I went home and took photos of all the messages from her old phone. The next morning, I shared them all in our family group chat. The messages clearly showed their affair started over a year before my divorce. There were detailed messages about their hotel meetups, the lies they told me to cover their tracks, and even their plans for the future. One message from Amy to Mark said, "How long do we have to keep hiding? I hate seeing you play the perfect husband with my sister." These messages left no room for doubt about what really happened. After I shared these, the family dynamic shifted dramatically. Several relatives who had been defending Amy changed their stance completely. My Aunt Linda, who had been one of Amy's strongest supporters, called me crying to apologize for not believing me initially. She said she had no idea the betrayal ran so deep. But here's where things got even more complicated. My cousin Sarah, who has always been like a third sister to me, sent me a private message after seeing the texts. She revealed that she had known about Amy and Mark's relationship all along. Sarah and I grew up together, our moms are sisters, and we lived on the same street. We shared everything growing up, from close to secrets to crushes. Finding out she kept this from me felt like being stabbed in the back all over again. Sarah said Amy had confided in her 3 years ago, before my divorce was even finalized. Apparently, Amy was struggling with guilt and needed someone to talk to. Sarah claims she told Amy to end things with Mark and come clean to me, but Amy refused. She said she tried multiple times to convince Amy to tell me the truth, but Amy always had some excuse about waiting for the right time or not wanting to hurt me. When I asked Sarah why she didn't tell me herself, she broke down crying. She said she felt trapped between her loyalty to both of us. She was afraid that if she told me, I would hate her for being the messenger, and if she didn't tell Amy she knew, Amy would feel betrayed. She chose to keep quiet, thinking the truth would eventually come out on its own. Sarah kept saying she never expected the affair to continue for so long or for Amy to keep lying about it even now. Amy is now furious that I shared the messages with the family. She showed up at my apartment last night, screaming that I had no right to expose her private conversations. She said I deliberately waited until close to her wedding to reveal everything, trying to ruin her big day. She claimed she was going to tell everyone the full truth eventually but was waiting until after the wedding to avoid family drama. This made me even angrier. I reminded her that she was the one who started lying about what happened when people questioned why I wouldn't attend her wedding. If she had just been honest from the beginning instead of trying to make me look bad, I wouldn't have needed to share the messages. Our mom is still trying to mediate peace between us. She came over this morning with Dad, suggesting we all sit down as a family to talk things through. But Dad shut that idea down immediately. He said he's done trying to fix things and announced he won't be walking Amy down the aisle at her wedding. This has created an even bigger rift in the family. Mom is upset with Dad for taking such a hard stance, saying parents shouldn't take sides between their children. The extended family is now completely divided. Some are saying I went too far by sharing private messages in the family group chat. My Aunt Helen said I should have handled things privately instead of airing dirty laundry for everyone to see. Others are praising me for exposing the truth and standing up for myself. Amy's fiancé Tom reached out to me yesterday. He seems like a genuinely nice guy who got caught in the middle of all this. He asked me to reconsider attending the wedding, saying he understands my anger but believes family should come first. He mentioned that Amy cries herself to sleep every night now, worried that half the family won't show up to her wedding. Part of me feels bad about that, but another part thinks she's only upset because she got caught in her lies. I'm standing firm in my decision not to attend the wedding. The family pressure is intense, with people taking sides and arguing about who should attend and who shouldn't. But I feel like Amy left me no choice when she started lying about what really happened. How could I possibly stand beside her on her wedding day, pretending to be the happy sister, knowing everything she did? Update 2: The situation with Amy just got even more complicated. Last week, around midnight, I received a long email from Mark that changed everything. He said he had been following all the family drama through mutual friends and couldn't stay silent anymore, especially after hearing how Amy was trying to minimize what happened between them. The email started with Mark apologizing for not coming clean sooner. He said he had been too ashamed to face what he had done, but seeing Amy continue to lie about everything made him realize he needed to tell the whole truth. What he revealed was far worse than what I had discovered from the phone messages. According to Mark, their affair didn't start with innocent messages as Amy claimed. She had actually been flirting with him for months at family gatherings before anything happened between them. He said it started at my 30th birthday party, when Amy cornered him in the kitchen while I was opening presents with everyone else. She told him she had feelings for him and wanted to know if he felt the same way. Mark admitted he should have shut it down immediately, but he had been feeling neglected in our marriage and Amy made him feel wanted. Their affair started 2 years before our divorce, not 1 year as I had thought from the phone messages. They had been meeting not just when I was at work, but also during family events. Mark said they would sneak away during holiday gatherings while everyone thought they were running errands or helping with preparations. They even met up during the weekend I went to visit my sick grandmother in the hospital. Reading this made me physically sick. But what really shocked me was learning about Amy's role in pushing for my divorce. According to Mark, she had been actively encouraging him to end our marriage. She would tell him that he deserved to be with someone who really understood him, and that I was too focused on my career to be a good wife. She even suggested ways for him to hide money from me before filing for divorce. This completely contradicts what Amy told everyone about them trying to fight their feelings and feeling guilty about the situation. Mark also revealed something that explained a mystery from our divorce proceedings. During the property settlement negotiations, he had initially agreed to a fair split of our assets. But then he suddenly became difficult and started dragging out the process. I had always wondered what changed. Now I know. Amy had convinced him to delay finalizing the settlement, hoping I would get frustrated and accept the worst deal just to get it over with. She told him they could use the extra money to buy a house together once they went public with their relationship. After reading the email several times, I shared it with our parents. Mom, who had been trying to defend Amy this whole time, finally broke down. She said she felt completely betrayed, especially since Amy had sworn to her that everything happened naturally and they never meant to hurt anyone. She had believed Amy when she said they only got together after my divorce and that the messages I found were just harmless flirting. Dad hasn't said much since reading the email, but I can tell he's devastated. He keeps saying he doesn't understand how his daughter could do something like this. He's already told Amy he won't walk her down the aisle, but now he says he doesn't even want to see her face again. The wedding is in 2 weeks, and the guest list keeps getting shorter. After I shared Mark's email with Sarah, the cousin who knew about their relationship, she reached out to other family members who were still planning to attend. Several more relatives have decided to skip the wedding, saying they can't support Amy after learning the full truth. Yesterday, Tom, Amy's fiancé, called me. His voice was shaking as he asked if Mark's email was true. He wanted to know specifically about the part where Mark said Amy had suggested ways to hide money during the divorce. I could tell he was questioning everything about his relationship with Amy. He kept saying he thought he knew her, but now he wasn't sure who she really was. Update 3: Final update on this whole situation. A lot has happened since my last post, and none of it is what anyone expected. Amy's wedding never happened. A week before the ceremony, Tom called everything off after discovering even more lies Amy had been telling him. Apparently, Mark's email prompted Tom to do some digging of his own. He found out that Amy had been hiding several past relationships from him, including a 6-month affair she had with her married boss at her previous job. She had told Tom she left that job because of better opportunities elsewhere, but really she was asked to resign when the affair came to light. He also discovered she had been secretly meeting her ex-boyfriend from college several times during their first few months of dating, something she had always denied. The final straw came when Tom found out Amy had been lying about her financial situation. She had told him she had savings for the wedding, but really she was deep in credit card debt from shopping sprees she kept hidden from everyone. When Tom confronted her about everything, she tried to blame it all on me, saying my revelations about her past had made her afraid to be honest with him. Amy completely fell apart after Tom called off the wedding. She showed up at my apartment at 2 a.m. one night, completely drunk. She was crying and screaming about how I had ruined her life by exposing her past. She said none of this would have happened if I had just kept quiet and attended her wedding like a good sister should. My neighbors called the police because of the disturbance, and I had to watch my own sister get escorted away by officers while she was still yelling about how everything was my fault. The next day, she started messaging everyone in the family with her side of the story. She claimed she was the real victim in all of this, that she had made some mistakes in the past but had changed, and that I was cruel for not letting her move on with her life. Some relatives actually started sympathizing with her again, saying maybe she had suffered enough. But I'm done with the drama. After the incident at my apartment, I decided to go completely no contact with Amy. I blocked her number, all her social media, and told my parents I don't want to know anything about what's going on with her. It wasn't an easy decision, but watching her try to spin herself as the victim after everything she did made me realize she'll never truly take responsibility for her actions. Mom was upset at first about my decision to cut contact. She kept saying that Amy is still my sister and that she's clearly struggling right now. But after Amy's drunken scene at my apartment, even Mom had to admit that Amy needs to face the consequences of her choices instead of blaming everyone else. Dad hasn't spoken to Amy since Mark's email revelations, and now he fully supports my decision to cut contact. He told me recently that he feels like he failed as a parent by not seeing Amy's manipulative behavior sooner. I tried to tell him it wasn't his fault, but he's really struggling with guilt over everything. The extended family has mostly settled down now that the wedding drama is over, though some relatives still think I should forgive Amy since she's lost so much already. My Aunt Helen especially keeps pushing for reconciliation, saying Amy has paid for her mistakes and deserves another chance. But I've realized that maintaining my own peace is more important than making others comfortable with my decisions. I'm focusing on moving forward with my life now. I've started a new job in a different city, which helps create some physical distance from all the family drama. Some people say time heals all wounds, but I've learned that sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is accept that some relationships are too broken to fix. I don't hate Amy anymore, but I can't have someone in my life who sees nothing wrong with betraying the people closest to her.